Hey everyone, this is Michael with the general reading for Scorpio Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for the month of September 2019. I hope this video finds you all well. I do apologize they're coming out just a little bit late. I have been pretty much booked solid with clients and it's been taking up the majority of my time. I've been focusing more of my energy on that. I do apologize for those of you who have also been waiting for readings. I am getting to you, I do promise. I haven't forgotten. I have just been very inundated and I've kind of just needed to take things a bit slow, especially with the past couple of weeks. But I feel like I'm finally getting my momentum now that things are going through the Virgo season. I'm really feeling a lot of that energy, so that's good. But for you, Scorpio, I feel like there's actually going to be... I think September is going to be an interesting month for you. I'm going to start off this reading with an astrological report. We're going to kind of be looking at the transits and aspects that are going to be happening throughout September. If someone would like to leave a timestamp in the comments down below, I will pin that for when the actual reading begins, because I know not everyone is interested in the astrology, but I do feel like it's very helpful and it can definitely put a context around this reading. I do also have a blog post linked down below in the description box that can help you figure out what might be happening when specifically. I'm not the best with specific dates in these videos. Sometimes I do write them down. I didn't for this. So it's going to be a lot of guesswork here, so I definitely recommend checking out that blog post if that's something you're interested in. And, you know, we really have quite a busy month. September has a lot of aspects, a lot of transits. That's because we have Saturn and Pluto hanging out in Capricorn, and all of this is moving through Virgo, which is causing a lot of trines. And we also have Jupiter in Sagittarius, which is squaring up against everything moving through Virgo. So there's a lot of action that's happening with these outer planets this season. I have felt like September is also going to be a pretty intense month of the year for everybody. You know, I'm thinking back to July, how we had the 2 eclipses and 6 retrogrades. I felt like that was one of the most profound months of the year. I actually feel like September might be a close second, just because of how much energy is moving right now. We also have Saturn going direct as well on the 18th, so there's definitely going to be some lessons. It's definitely going to be a lot of perseverance, pushing through, and, you know, really achieving new levels of power. Everything that's squaring off with your ruling planet, Pluto, there's really going to be a lot of, I think, trials. We're going to be pushed forward and, you know, we're going to have a lot of energy, a lot of horsepower with all of these trines, all of these harmonious aspects, all of these planets working together, coupling together. But because we have all of these squares, because of all of these squares and oppositions as well, we have a lot of walls. It's like we're being pushed into a wall. And I don't think September is going to be a really comfortable month, to be honest, for anybody, especially for you, Scorpio. I do have to be honest, because we are moving through your 12th house towards the end of the month. We're going to be moving through Libra, and that's a lot to do with spirituality, loss, healing, karmic cycles coming to an end. And, you know, that month before your solar return can be a really intense time. So this is probably going to be a bit more of an introspective reading. I'm expecting maybe a little bit of loss. I know Scorpios have really been going through a lot this year, especially the collective I've been tuning into, so don't panic to hear that. I feel like it's kind of more of a review for you. There might be a little bit extra stuff kind of falling away, but I don't think it's going to be anything super intense for you guys. I think it's already kind of happened, and you're going to be reviewing and sitting with a lot of that. But I am curious to see what actually comes up for you in the reading here. I am going to start shuffling. I think that's pretty much it for the astrology. Again, like, there's a lot that's happening this month. I really didn't go super in-depth and go in detail, which is funny because it's Virgo season, but I just felt like it was more appropriate to really get a general sense of this month because there's a lot that's happening. Before we actually begin, I also just want to remind you guys that I have links in the description box for personal readings and Reiki sessions for those of you who want some personalized assistance. And these are also general readings, meaning not all of the messages that come forward are going to be meant for you specifically. It is up to you and your own discernment to figure out what messages apply and what should be left behind for someone else. Some of the energy may also come in the reverse, so some of this might actually be someone around you, or vice versa if you're cross-watching for a Scorpio. And I think that's pretty much everything. Let's see, what are the messages for Scorpio coming into September 2019? This could be referring to August or further back. It's kind of just reviewing what the energy has been for you guys coming into this month. All right, so we have the Nine of Wands. You guys have been feeling very tired, very beat down. You've been very, very busy, and I think you might even be feeling a bit worn out by the time September comes around. We have the Knight of Cups in the reverse, and the Four of Pentacles upright. Yeah, you know, with this Nine of Wands, you're feeling pretty exhausted. I feel like coming into the month of September, you're feeling pretty tired, pretty worn down. There might have been a lot of conflict, or you might have just been really, really busy. You might physically be feeling exhausted just from all the work you've been doing or all the energy that has been moving through you. It feels like you just kind of want to collapse, honestly. It feels like my chest is kind of sinking in, just tuning into this energy, but you are almost there. You're very close to the end here. You know, 9 is a number of completion. You are completing a cycle, but you're definitely feeling a lot of burden. But I was just saying before, I feel like the worst is kind of behind you. It's now just a matter of perseverance. With this Knight of Cups in the reverse, this could be referring to a water sign in your life. This is actually showing up in the emotions. This could be referring to a past relationship or a past connection here. It feels like you've just been thinking a lot about this. You might have left someone recently, or someone recently left you. It almost feels further back than August, though. It kind of came up in August. And I feel like with this Four of Pentacles, this is showing up in the mental and communicative part of the read. There's definitely a lot of holding back here. It could either be this person, it could also be you, but it feels like whatever it was that happened here, you're feeling very guarded, very defensive, you know, and that makes a lot of sense. That's kind of been the energy I've been tuning into with my Scorpios, to be honest. It's been very closed off, very wounded, and, you know, kind of like a wounded animal in the corner, kind of growling at anyone who approaches them. I do feel like this is more in the past, though. So this is kind of where you've been. I'm going to be looking now at the animal wisdom for you guys here. What is the animal wisdom for the past for Scorpio? Raccoon. Yeah, someone's definitely been hiding. And I feel like there's kind of been a lot of masks that have been put on. I feel like you're actually trying to figure out what parts of yourself to expose and what parts of yourself to still keep hidden. I do feel like there's also something with hands. You know, raccoon, they have these prehensile fingers. They have human-like hands. I feel like you've just been very, very busy. I'm really just getting this sense of hiding. And this could be you, could be someone else. I think it's kind of both ways, to be honest. Communication just seems guarded on both fronts. And emotionally, you're definitely feeling some loss here, especially romantically. But it could also be someone who's really close to you. Doesn't necessarily need to be a lover. Let's see. So this is kind of all the energy. This is kind of laying the foundation for the first half of September, which we're going to be looking at now. What is the energy for Scorpio in the first half of September? Yeah, you've definitely been having a hard time expressing your emotions. That's definitely been the collective I'm tapping into. And even if you are still in a relationship, or even if you are still connected to this person, there is some sort of guardedness here. It's like you're not really connected. What are the messages for Scorpio for the first half of September? What are the messages for Scorpio for the first half of September? Show us clearly. Interesting. Okay. Okay. 7 of Cups in the reverse. 9 of Swords. And then we have the 2 of Wands that came out with the 7 of Wands in reverse. I just got the phrase waking up. You're coming out of a nightmare here. You know, with the 7 of Cups in the reverse, you might be realizing some things that weren't actually true. You might have seemed to have more options than you actually had. You're going to kind of be narrowing down your options in the first part of September. You've been very much in your mind. Even though you've been working very hard, it's almost like you've been doing work to keep yourself closed off. You've been keeping yourself busy. It's not work, it's being busy. It's like you've been too busy. And I do feel like you're kind of doing this to distance yourself from people or from a situation. And with the 7 of Cups in reverse, I do feel like there is this mask coming off here. It could also be someone you're working with. You might be seeing someone's true colors finally. You've been sensing someone's been hiding something. But again, this feels like it's going both ways. And with the 9 of Swords in kind of the heart of the reading here, there's definitely a lot of anxiety, a lot of tension. But it's very much, you're almost stuck in your mind. Even though there's all of this tension emotionally, you're not feeling your emotions. You're telling yourself this story, oh, you know, you might be aware of your emotions, but you're not feeling them in your body. That's how you let go of them. That's how you let them flow. And you're holding off to that. You could also be having a hard time sleeping. I'm seeing a lot of restlessness here. And with the 2 of Wands and the 7 of Wands in the reverse, I feel like mentally you're actually still very on guard. You're almost becoming defensive, is what I'm seeing for September. You're looking for problems that might not even be there. And you might be starting to realize that you're doing that in the first start of September. You're becoming aware of the fact you've been almost hyper vigilant here. You have felt like the 7 of Wands for a while, where it's just you fending off whatever is coming your way. You're trying to hold your ground here. And I feel like you're getting a new perspective here. You're seeing something differently, but I still see that there is this, you're becoming aware of your tendency to look for problems, to look for issues, to look for conflict where it might not even be there. Or I don't even want to say that it's not there. I think we're always picking on stuff like that. I think it's a cop-out or even a gaslight to say, oh, that's not real, what you're perceiving. You are perceiving something, but I do feel like because you're coming from this place of defensiveness, it's actually making it seem worse than it might actually be. So do keep that in mind, especially with this 9 of Swords. You're kind of your own worst enemy at the start of September. And I feel like I've actually made a video about this for you in the past. I know I've done that for another sign, but Scorpios can definitely become their own worst enemy because they can be very suspicious of people. You're very guarded. You're also very loyal. It's like once someone earns your trust, you really put a lot of faith in them, but it's almost like this self-fulfilling prophecy, because it's like when that person does something wrong, it hurts you in a very deep way, and you might perceive things that aren't actually real, because it's like, oh, I would never do that to that person, I trust them so much. You take trust very seriously, and I'm not saying other people aren't valuing your trust or aren't valuing you, but I feel like you're not seeing eye to eye on something. You're really struggling. You're trying to make some sort of resolution here. I feel like a lot of the conflict that might have been had with this person in the past could actually just be a misunderstanding of perspectives. And I do have, for the energy for you, fish, you know, kind of being tossed by the tides, going with the flow, going with the currents here. It's kind of this flighty energy, which is interesting for Virgo season, but it seems like it's really important for you to kind of pin down this energy, to really figure out why you're so flighty, why you're all over the place. I was feeling like there's a lot of activity, and I was even saying it feels busy. It doesn't feel productive. It doesn't feel like work. You're putting a lot of effort into something, and you might be realizing in September that that's not paying off. There might have been some sort of deception from someone else or on your part, but really, you know, we're always deceiving ourselves in that case anyway. So it's still looking kind of intense, but I feel like this is better because you're coming out of this deception, this delusion. It might not necessarily feel great, but I do feel like you're waking up from the nightmare. You know, you're aware this is in your head now. And I'm not saying that doesn't mean that this person isn't toxic or that this person isn't healthy for you, but you're giving them your power, or you've been doing that, and you're realizing that even though things have been very intense, you are coming into this realization it was just a nightmare, it was just a dream. It was your perception of something that really made it unbearable. You might have felt trapped. I'm almost getting like devil energy. But it's like you're coming out of that. I'm going to be looking now at the second half of September for my Scorpios. Okay. Page of Pentacles in the reverse. Coming out with the Six of Swords, also in the reverse. And the Temperance card. I do feel like you are coming back to something by the end of September. You're definitely reviewing something here, but I think it almost feels like someone you're working with or someone you're involved with, you're kind of realizing that they weren't actually as stable as they may have seemed, or that things for you weren't as stable as they had seemed. I feel like it's almost like this oh shit moment. Like, it's like you thought you had figured something out, and then it's kind of back to the drawing board here. Something didn't come into fruition the way you had hoped, especially if you were working with an earth sign. With the Six of Swords in the reverse, I do feel like you are reviewing a lot, you are going back to something, returning to something, and it doesn't necessarily feel all that great. I gotta be honest, it's not like you're reconnecting, it's like you're going back to this place and it almost feels like you had no other choice. You might have felt like you were finally close to something else, some sort of horizon, and then you had to turn back for some reason. Ordinarily, this card, it's like the worst is behind you. You've left the storm behind you. You're almost towards land. I actually am getting this reverse impression of this, however, where it's like you were trying to get to this new land, but the storm prevented you from doing it, and now you're going back to something. There's still a lesson. There's still something you need to integrate from the past. And I actually do see that you are striking a balance here with this Temperance card. You are actually healing something. It could be with someone, especially Sagittarian energy is coming up pretty strongly, as well as Earth energy. But I do feel like you are healing something, but it's going to take time. It's like you thought you were ready and then you realized you weren't. Or maybe it happened with this other person. And it's not to say that you'll never get there, it's just, it's not the right time. And I actually think you're coming into this understanding. You're really beginning to kind of surrender to this. It's like you've been persevering, you've been pushing so hard, trying to like use your willpower to overcome something. And you've really just been fighting yourself the whole time, and I think you're realizing that. And it's pushed other people away as a result. Let's see the animal wisdom. I do feel like this is healing. It might not feel great right away, but there is healing that's coming, and I feel like I've been saying that to you guys for so long, and it's like, it's available to you. It really is available to you, but it does require you having to go through some uncomfortable stuff. And the animal wisdom that came out is mouse. You've definitely been very controlling, nitpicky here with something, and I feel like you're bringing this energy back into balance. This is almost like out of balance Virgo energy, which is interesting that this is the second half of September, as we're kind of coming into Libra season. I feel like you're putting this energy into something, you're trying to make this mental energy, this stirring energy, and use it into something productive. That's just what we were talking about in the first part of September. There's like all this energy, but you're not really doing anything with it. It's kind of just like busy. You're not being constructive anymore with it. You're not producing anything more. And I feel like you're kind of going back. You're realizing you need to go back. You need to heal something, bring balance, slow down. And it could be a Sagittarius who's doing that for you. I feel like it's really important for you to be mindful of where you're putting your energy and how you're using this energy, because you're using it to almost make you more nervous, to make you almost paranoid, or you have been, and I feel like you're coming out of that, and it's like, it's almost like you can create that when you're vibrating at that frequency. I don't mean to sound like overly metaphysical here, but it's like when you're vibrating at this frequency of paranoia, of suspicion, of guardedness, you are going to manifest experiences that justify that state. This is a universe that is a mirror. And it's going to reflect the energy that you're giving out, which is suspicious, which is guarded. I feel like it's really important for you to refocus. Making lists, really getting your shit together and focusing small. Because I feel like whatever it is you've been trying to power through here, you've just exhausted yourself and you weren't able to see something through the way you had hoped. And you're kind of going back, you're kind of retreating, and that's okay. You actually need to do this, even if this feels like you're being punished. That's not what this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be giving you an opportunity to heal. I feel like there's one more animal card. just saw a flash of Scorpion. Yeah, we have the horse. I feel like it's really important for you to regain your stamina here. You've kind of been go, 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 and you've sort of lost focus. It's like you've been toiling so long or working so hard that you forgot why or what you were going towards. And I feel like you're really starting to reconnect to that. It's almost like that's the missing piece here. And I do actually see you're coming into something very stable, whether this be a relationship or your career, whatever it is you're working on. You are coming into something stable, and that takes time, you know? Guess what? It's not something that's immediate. And just because you don't have the result you want right now, it doesn't mean that you need to try and seize it and control every little aspect. It's coming. Trust that it's coming. Trust that you're working towards something and you're going to start working into that state, into what you want. I'm not getting any more messages for you right now, Scorpio. I do hope that this reading was helpful. Definitely hit like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below what has been going on for you. It's been such a rough journey, and I do feel like you're kind of coming back. You're kind of returning from this, and I think this is actually going to really help you. Again, if you're interested in personal guidance or assistance, I offer Reiki sessions and personal readings. All of that is in the description box down below. I really wish the best for you. I hope you're able to get back in touch with what it is that you're really working towards and find a way to start stepping into that more. I really feel like that's possible for you guys. So if I don't see you in a personal reading or a Reiki session, I will see you all in the next video. Bye, Scorpio.